Hello, I'm Melissa with Adventures with the Lomans, and it is just me today because this adventure my husband did not get to go on. My mom, my dad, my sister, and then my son, who is a senior in high school, we all got to take a little adventure to the New England states. Got this backdrop. I'm an online teacher, so that's really why I have this backdrop, but I thought to film here because it's perfect for the theme of this video, because we went to New England in the fall. This video specifically is going to be focused on Vermont and primarily on the Trapp Family Lodge and things to do around the immediate vicinity of that lodge. So if you are watching this, you may be a fan of Sound of Music, which is the Von Trapp family, and it is based on a true story. If you don't know, they do change the names in the movie to the real names, and they change the ages of the kids, but a lot of it really is true. The Von Trapp family, in fleeing Nazi Germany, they came to Vermont and settled in the Stowe, Vermont area in the I believe it was in the late 40s. They opened their family lodge in 1950 there. It did have a fire and burned down and was reopened around 1980. So what they did, though, was insane. Back in the 40s, they bought this acreage. Currently, it's 2,600 acres, and they bought it for $5,000, which I looked up, and in today's money would be around $100,000. So still an insane amount of property, gorgeous property for very little. And they did start a small lodge then that has grown into what it is now. The lodge currently, I believe, has 96 rooms, and then there are some villas as well. We stayed in a suite at the lodge, which was 2 bedrooms with amazingly comfortable king-size beds. Both rooms had gorgeous views, and then it had a living room that had a sleeper sofa that had a make-out queen-size bed as well. That was actually my son's most comfortable bed on the whole trip. It was very, very nice. It also had a beautiful view out of the living room. There was 1 bathroom off of that and a dining area, and we were up on the 4th floor. If you went down a half flight of stairs, you could go out and there were chairs to sit. And our view there was of an apple orchard area, which was really nice. And you could pick the apples. They were in season. I was there last week on September 10th and 11th, around that time. With staying at the lodge, I will say that it is very nice, very well done, but it is more of a European charm than an American posh, bougie niceness. It is very nice, but a little bit different as far as that goes. If you were an American wanting to stay there expecting really high end finishes, it's going to look a little different because it kind of is more on the European or the Austrian side of things, I would say. The lodge comes with a lot of amenities. Okay, so right behind our room, like I said, the apple orchard, there are hiking trails that you can take. You're free to explore. You can hike up to a chapel, well-marked hiking trails. In the winter, it is also opened. It's year-round. They have cross-country skiing, a lot of snowshoeing there. You can still do some of the hiking. There's mountain biking. There are tennis courts on property, and they are currently, as I speak, converting some of those into pickleball, which I play pickleball, and so I'm think that's kind of cool. So they're making some pickleball courts there. There is a beautiful indoor pool. There's an outdoor pool. It was closed while we were there, but the hot tub was going, it was open in September. There's also a rock climbing wall inside. That's kind of cool. And a beautiful locker room, spa-like area that you can take advantage of if you're staying on property. I will tell you about a few of the tours, or I don't know if you want to call them excursions, but whatever, that we did do, and I'm going to be putting pictures and videos on here as well. One night, we took advantage of, they were having a s'mores campfire night, and it was located on property behind the coffee house. And by the way, the coffee house has coffee, baked goods, all of that right on premise. You can walk to it. There's a shuttle that you can arrange to take around property as well, for free. But we drove because we were going to be on our way into Stowe. So we just drove down to the coffee house, and right behind it there was a campfire, and there was employees working who gave us sticks and marshmallows, and we just had a campfire with a bunch of people that were strangers, and a lady was playing her guitar, and we sang just some really fun songs. We sang some songs from The Sound of Music. A few of my favorite things was one of them. And we just sang some songs that you just hear. It was just such a like sweet, like Hallmark movie moment, like with all these strangers gathered together in this beautiful setting, and we're just making s'mores, and that was pretty cool. The next day we did 2 tours. One was a Meet the Cows tour. So the lodge owns a herd of Scottish Highland cows, cute little cows with the hair in their eyes, and I'll be sharing several pictures and videos here. And we got to go sit in a yurt right by the outdoor center and hear about them first, and then we walked as a group down to see them. And this tour was included within our stay. If you're not staying at the lodge, you can go, and I believe the cost was maybe $20 a person. Super cool. There is an electric fence around them, but the guy removed the fence, and we got to go in the field with them and got pretty close. It was really neat. They're pretty docile. He told us that they love apples, and so later we picked a bunch of apples. They told us we could, and we went down and just fed them out of our hands, which was a really neat experience to feed those cows. They were so cute. Sort of fell in love with them. That was a tour that was included. They also have sheep on property. By the way, the cows, they say they take them and rotate them between 7 different fields. When we happened to see them, they were right across from where the sheep were also located that are on property. They do use some of the meat from the cows, and I believe the sheep as well. And they grow a lot of food on property. If you choose to eat in their restaurant on property, which we did not, it was very expensive, but I'm sure extremely good. They say they have little special markings on the menu of what is grown on property, and they try to grow a lot of things there. But the second tour that we did was super interesting. It was about, I would say, an hour and a half long, and it was kind of a history of the lodge and a tour of the Van Trapp grounds. We got to see the cemetery. All of the family that has died has been buried at that cemetery, including the captain and Maria, many of the children. The youngest son, Johannes, is the only current living Von Trapp family member, and he splits his time between the lodge in Stowe and New Mexico at a cattle ranch. And 2 of his children, Christina and Sam, they also help run the lodge, and their families. So they all live within like a mile of where you stay, and on your tour you're guaranteed to meet one of them. The day that we were there on our tour, Christina was the one that we got to meet. So that would be Johannes, the youngest Von Trapp family's daughter. So they're Maria's granddaughter, and she was 17 when her grandmother Maria died. She never really knew she grew up in a special family. She said she didn't even see The Sound of Music until she was 10 years old. She said, like most families in Vermont, she said it was just not uncommon to own a family lodge, and that's just what she thought she did. It wasn't until she went away to college and she started introducing herself as Christina Von Trapp that she realized who she was. And so, very interesting story. You also in that get to see a video of Maria when she went back to Austria and she got to visit the convent where she was as a nun before she went to live with the captain's family. So that's pretty cool. Just a really neat tour that we got to see there, and getting to see her, and she's willing to take pictures, do autographs, all the things. it was just a special time, especially if you are a fan of the sound of music. It was a neat thing. The lodge, though, has plenty of things that could keep you occupied for many hours and many days, honestly, if you wanted to just relax there. It is expensive to stay there, especially certain times of the year. So I think many people probably may only spend one night. We only got to spend one night there. But we did get to enjoy many things in that Stowe area. So now I do want to address those. The day that we went to the lodge, our check-in was at 4 o'clock. So we had quite a bit of time before we checked in, which we found out later, like we could have gone on property and just toured some other things. There's a brewery probably less than a mile down the road. You can do tours there. We could have been on property, but check-in for us was at 4 and check-out was at 11. We did stay on property well past our checkout time. We were feeding the cows and doing those things. But in that general area, within 30 minutes or so, you've got, well, 45 minutes. Montpelier, the capital, they call it a state house. It's one of 7 or 8 states that it's called a state house rather than the capital. Completely free to go in. Not only is the State House free to go in, but you can just roam around. Like they do have guided tours at the top of every hour. But I mentioned to the lady there that was giving tours, I was like, I noticed there was a lack of security here. And she was like, it's Vermont. And it was really weird. Didn't even go through a metal detector. So that was interesting. Beautiful state house, very small, but very beautiful. The trees were already changing colors there. If you do go to the State House, I highly recommend a restaurant called Aranda's, and there's one in Stowe as well as a few other cities in Vermont. It is a Mexican restaurant located in a gas station in in Montpelier, Vermont. So good. Churros filled with caramel, best I've ever had in my life, and I've been to Mexico many times. Loved it. Taco sampler platter for 5 tacos, street tacos, all their kinds of meats, and it was like $14. So great food, good prices, 1 block down from the State House capital. Montpelier is also a great city to explore and just walk around in. Beautiful city. But while we were driving from Montpelier to Stowe to get to the lodge, I mean, you could spend a day just in that little, it's 36 miles, I believe, or something like that. Took about 45 minutes if you just drove it, but we spent a lot of time right in that area because you pass a maple, it was called Morse Farm Maple Sugar. Such a neat place. You get to sample all the different colors of maple syrup. You get to see, there's a presentation and a video of how it's made, and depending upon the time of the year, you can see them tapping the trees. For us, it's a little early for that, so we did see the trees that they tap, but it was very informative. But the highlight of that trip is to have a maple creamy, which is like a soft serve ice cream with maple in it, maple syrup in it. So good. I'd never had one before, but I recommend getting a baby because the baby is the smallest and it is plenty, unless you like really, really, really want something large. Just down the road from that was the Ben & Jerry's Creamery. You can do a tour there. We did stop and just kind of looked at the grounds there. We did not do a tour of that. We wanted to move on to the Cold Hollow Cider Mill, which is an apple cider place. And if you go clear into the back, they've got a big vat that they have cups, and just for free you can taste the cider, and they didn't really seem to care how much you tried. It was very delicious. Cold. I didn't try it hot, but we did buy some of the apple cider donuts, and those were also delicious as well, and they were making them fresh. And so if you tell them that you're going to eat it, then they will give you a hot one, so that's a nice tip. All of those things are just right there on that 30-some mile stretch between Montpelier and Stowe. Once you are in Stowe, there is a covered bridge that's kind of cool to see. And then that we found that there was a delicious pizza place called Picasso, kind of like Picasso, but Picasso. Very delicious and very reasonably priced. And we were there on a Tuesday night, and it was family trivia night, which was super fun. It's from 7 to 9 if you do want to play that. But just a great area. Like, you could easily spend a lot of time in the Stowe, Vermont area. We did see other things in Vermont. We flew into Burlington, and so we saw Church Street and kind of drove up the northern route to go up into Canada and around Lake Champlain. If you are in Burlington, definitely go check out Lake Champlain, just because it's beautiful and just some cool little parks and docks and stuff right along the lake there. But yeah, please ask questions if you have any about the Von Trapp Family Lodge, the Maple Sugar Farm, Morse Family Maple Sugar Farm, Cold Hollow Apple Cider, and yeah, I think those are Montpelier State House. And then, oh, if you are in Montpelier, I'm losing the name of it. I will put a picture in here though and put the name on here, but there is a pet shop with the coolest kind of dog. It looked like it had dreadlocks all over, and they say that this dog might be the most photographed dog in the country, if not the world. And so I'll share some things here about that, but it's just cool. It looks like a big dust mop or something lying there, but it was neat to get to see, and it's just right there on the main street in Montpelier from the State House. If you just walk down, you'll see this peculiar pets or quirky pets. Like, I'll put it in the link. So, all right, let me know if you have any questions. Give me a like, give me a follow. Thank you for watching Adventures with the Lomans. Bye.